Welcome to I Wrote This News. Today is February 14, 2022. Will you be my news valentine? Story number 1. For the 40th time, the U.S. says Russia's invasion of Ukraine is imminent, and this time they really mean it. Tensions between the United States and Russia over Ukraine have reached a new pitch. The United States and its allies urged their citizens to leave Ukraine right away to avoid a Russian invasion, including a possible air assault. Previously, Western analysts said that the invasion could happen at any time, but nearly all of them are now so worried that they claim that the invasion could begin as soon as yesterday. Story number 2. Sticks and Stones. Donald Sticks and Stones, former president and guy who thinks making up derogatory nicknames is a form of rebuttal. Donald Trump on Friday blasted a forthcoming book by the New York Times' Maggie Haberman, saying that her details were fake. Trump whined, quote, "Yet another fake book by a reporter who knows nothing about me." Maggie Haberman of the New York Times is making up stories about my relationship with foreign leaders. Apparently at issue is the nature of Trump's relationship with North Korea's leader and hairstyle trendsetter Kim Jong-un. In an excerpt of the book published by Axios Thursday, Haberman says that since leaving office, Trump has told people that he's still been in touch with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Trump as president had a controversial, unorthodox relationship with the North Korean leader that often prompted criticism in Washington. Early in his presidency, Trump and Kim frequently traded threats and insults from across the globe, at times prompting concerns a nuclear war was on the horizon. But that dynamic shifted in 2018 as Trump moved to establish a dialogue with Kim on the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Meanwhile, Trump often bragged about his friendship with Kim, saying he received love letters from the North Korean leader and calling them beautiful. Nonetheless, Trump seems to make it clear that he's not going to give his heart away to just Kim, boasting, quote, "Haberman claims I speak with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, but not other world leaders." Wrong. Story number 3. Do you think I'm funny? Funny like a clown. President Biden called NBC journalist Lester Holt a wise guy when the veteran TV anchor pointed out that Biden erroneously said high inflation would be temporary, and that instead it surged to a new 40-year high. Holt noted, quote, "I think it was back in July, you said inflation was going to be temporary. I think a lot of Americans are wondering what your definition of temporary is." Biden poked his cane in Holt's direction and grunted, quote, "Well, you're being a wise guy with me a little bit." He then went on to ask Holt whether he'd heard that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was imminent, and wouldn't he rather talk about that instead of inflation. The Federal Consumer Price Index found overall consumer costs up 7.5% in January versus 1 year earlier, dashing White House predictions that the figure would begin to fall. Higher inflation means that your dollar is worth less, making it hard to buy goods and services as well as to vote for the incumbent. Story number 4. She's doubling down on her Trumpy bear. A Beverly Hills cosmetologist who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th in support of the man she calls Trumpy Bear recently told fellow supporters that she only pleaded guilty, quote, to stay out of jail, that she didn't read the plea deal she signed, and that she doesn't think Capitol defendants will get locked away for a long time because former President Donald Trump is, quote, coming back. Gina Bisignano is a Trump supporter who wore a Louis Vuitton sweater as she used a bullhorn to call for strong, angry patriots in the mob to help fight police at the Capitol. Bisignano said on the bullhorn, quote, "We the people are not going to take it anymore. You are not going to take away our Trumpy bear. You are not going to take away our votes." Under the plea deal, Bisignano was supposed to cooperate with the government and could receive credit at sentencing for demonstrating acceptance of responsibility. It's not clear what's behind her change of heart, but at a recent rally, Trump told supporters that if he returns to the White House, he will consider pardoning riot participants. February 14th is the 45th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. 320 days remain until the end of the year. Now it's time for On This Date in History. On this date in 1778, the United States flag is formally recognized by a foreign naval vessel for the first time, when French Admiral Toussaint-Guillaume Piquet de la Motte renders a 9-gun salute to the USS Ranger, commanded by John Paul Jones. On this date in 1849, James Knox Polk becomes the first serving president of the United States to have his photograph taken. On this date in 1859, Oregon is admitted as the 33rd U.S. state. On this date in 1912, Arizona is admitted as the 48th and the last contiguous U.S. state. On this date in 1920, the League of Women Voters is founded in Chicago. On this date in 1989, Union Carbide agrees to pay $470 million to the Indian government for damages it caused in the 1984 Bhopal disaster. On this date in 2005, YouTube is launched by a group of college students, eventually becoming the largest video sharing website in the world. Celebrating birthdays today are co-founder of the restaurant chain and butt of our jokes, James Maynard, politician and academic Donna Shaw Layla, businessman and deep-pocketed politician Michael Bloomberg, journalist Carl Bernstein, New Hampshire politician Judd Gregg, magician Teller, radio host Terry Gross, actress Meg Tilly, actor Simon Pegg, rocker Rob Thomas, and Italian mathematician Annalisa Buffa. Happy birthday to all of them, and if your birthday is today, a very happy birthday to you as well. By the way, if you or someone you know is having a birthday and would like us to announce it on the show, leave us a voice message or send an email. The links are in the show notes. Today's news was brought to us by Reuters, Insider, the New York Post, Yahoo News, and the Woodward to my Bernstein, Wikipedia. If you have a comment or a question about anything you've heard today, or if you have a suggestion, please send us a note at IWTN, all one word, at thatradioshow.com. That email address one more time is IWTN, all one word, at thatradioshow.com.
One more thing, if this podcast sounds a little funny, that's because it's also an experiment. All of the vocals were generated using AI technology. Hopefully the show will sound different and better as the tech improves and as we improve at using it. I'm Bob Neese, hoping you have an amazing day. We'll get together again soon.